Welcome to another episode of No Handouts Podcast with your boy G. We happy to have you guys back. And on my right,
what's good, y'all? Late night in the building, tracks up in the building. Let's get it.
and on my left, we got a special guest for you guys. Let's talk about my special guest over here. The voice of an angel. All right, he can probably put a demon to sleep. Please let them know who you are.
It's your boy A. Marquise, R&B singer from New Britain, Connecticut.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shout out to A. Marquise coming through and hanging out with us. How you doing, bro?
Nah, don't worry. It's not very white this time. I could probably say we could go against maybe Michael Jackson here.
He said he's got the Barry White voice going on.
Got Barry White.
Nah. Because we called the homeless guy like Barry White a little bit. So.
That homeless man got a lot of names right now. Shout outs to him, man. Yeah, man. So, extremely happy to have you on the show. Please, if people don't know, kind of give them a little bit of background story about you, just like how you started on this path.
So, my name's A. Marquise. Antonio Kershaw is my real name. Started singing when I was a kid in church when I was like 5 years old. Made my first song when I was like 14. I was in a group with my cousins. Then as time went along, we kind of grew distant. Started making my own music, and
The rest is history.
The rest is history.
Hey, shout outs to you. So you did start singing singing at the church.
I did.
Okay, all right. And how long were you doing that for?
I still do it to this day, honestly.
Hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that.
I come as like a special guest sometimes. As soon as I walk in the church, like pastor be like, "So you're about to sing today?" I'm like, it's one of them situations. But yeah, my whole life exactly. You can't say no to the pastor, so I'm like, "Oops."
Nah, you're good. Nothing about it. But it's something about like especially church, man, where the music is so soulful, so powerful, man. So I mean, I truly enjoy it because it's got a lot of spirit to it. You know what I mean? Like, so I enjoy it. I think it just connects with a different part of the brain for sure. Do you incorporate that into your music now?
I do. Truthfully, it's church is where I started getting vocal lessons, because when you're in the choir, you take vocal lessons in choir. So I definitely incorporate a lot of that soul that you get from gospel music into my music that I perform today.
That's absolutely amazing. So I know you and Late Night have been, working together for some time now.
It's been like, what, 4 years now or something?
Yeah, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Can you speak on the experience of just working with A. Marquise? And
to be honest with you, I think I met him at open mic night. Because I was just going just to really see if I can do something, right? And I guess it was just banter here and there. One day he just called me. He was like, "Yo, let's go to the studio." I was like, "You know what? Let me follow up on this." And he showed me, I think, his a couple of songs off of his first album. He's like, "Yo, what you think?" I was like, "Think I can see this for a second?" Here you go. He's like, "Yo, I like this." All right, and hit multiple hits later. We've been mad cool ever since.
Yeah, facts.
Hey, shout out to you guys, right? The dynamic duo, we can call it, huh?
Absolutely.
Batman and Batman, because we ain't doing Batman and Robin, right?
Absolutely.
That's what's up, man. So, right now, what are we working on as far as?
So I got Feel Good Music 5. That's going to be on all streaming platforms coming out probably this month, end of the month. I got a track with my brother Brian Alfred on there. Mm-hmm. I got late night on there. I got so many other features on there.
I got a special appearance on there. Where you never know, but I got a special appearance on there. But no, that's actually amazing, bro. And I've seen that you have a lot of projects.
I do.
You are a workhorse, man. You are on it.
Two a year. I try to release 2 projects a year. Wow. I kind of go like the Chris Brown route, to be honest. I seen Chris Brown releases a lot of songs at one time, and I kind of do the playlist wave because it just works for me.
Okay.
Because I feel like when I record music, I feel like a lot of people kind of record and they pick and choose. I just record, and just keep recording.
Yo, when this man is in the studio, he is in the studio, and no joke, he's literally gonna call me and be like, "Yo, I need a beat from you." Like, all right, fine, I got you. Well, here you go.
It's not lying.
That's fire.
He's literally scoured my laptop
went through
everything.
there.
He literally went through everything. Yeah, I'm not even joking. He went through all my whole laptop. I was like, I want this one. I was like, okay, fine, whatever.
All right. So R&B guys are known for, making the female demographic very moist. So my question to you is did that play a part in you wanting to do like the R&B?
Truthfully,
Because I
no.
feel like the females, man, right? It's for them. It really is for them, right? You know what I mean? We've come a long way as far as the fellas being able to be like, hey, I enjoy R&B. You know what I mean? The rhythm. Before it was like, yo, you too gangster. You can't be listening to this.
I'm not gonna hold you. I got a different take, yo, because I'm not gonna hold you. There's a couple of people on here. I could say that A. Marquise and Brian Alfred. Yes, I can put some respect on his name. That like, yo, these guys are taking back like the form of R&B, where it's like it's not just catering to women anymore. It's like, yo, now I can talk about like, yo, how I feel.
That's that cool shit.
Yeah, right. It's cool as shit. Don't get me wrong. It's still like, yo, fuck you if you try to fuck me over. But.
Yeah, listen, because I'll be honest with you, man. When I was younger, right, like I used to listen to R&B all the time, right? But you can't do that shit like too much in public. You can't be sitting there like, yeah, what you listen to Trey songs in the house? Nah, I was listening to Trey 9. It was listening. I was listening to Trey 9, but no, listen, I love R&B. I think the older you get, the more of an appreciation you get for it.
Yeah, I agree. Like, for me personally, music was a way for me to express myself. So that's kind of what got me started. Now, the women have got me continuing down this path. But starting wise, like, it really just was a way for me to let off certain emotions that I had. Like, I went through a breakup when I was in middle school, and that's really what started me to write music.
Right.
So that's kind of what keeps me going, and that's what got me started.
So are all your songs kind of attached to a particular situation, or are they just attached to emotions, maybe something you've seen someone else go through, or like how do you...
90% of my music is attached to a situation that I personally been through. There is those 10% where there's someone else going through something, and I found a way to express it through myself.
Okay.
But for the most part, it's my real life situations, how I feel. Like, even when I make music about love, even though I'm not in a relationship, it's still like that kind of woman I would want, that kind of love I want to feel is what I put in my music.
Right. No, and that's fire, because I feel like music comes from, when it comes from a real place, it's that much better. Because you can usually tell when it's not real or when it's like manufactured. So when it comes from a real place, I do feel like it's much better, way better.
Facts.
Yeah. So, you doing the R&B and stuff like that. Who would you say are your influences, and maybe who were kind of people that you listened to growing up, or people that you're kind of on the lookout for now?
Okay. When I was growing up, I watched the cassette tape Boyz II Men, Inside and Out. They have a cassette tape with like the best of their music videos, and that's really what got me started. Then it was like Tank, Genuine, Tyrese. In today's music, I actually listen to a lot of CT artists. Like, shout out to Brian Alfred.
Yeah.
Definitely on my playlist.
Yeah, he's on my playlist too,
Brew Williams, Late Night Forest.
Yes, sir.
Not Above Vibes. There's so much talent in my city. I feel like there's enough talent in this city in the state, for me to just keep my playlist in the state. Right. And then listen to the classic R&B kind of sneaks in there.
Right.
So that's kind of like...
Right. Because it's always, like I said, I think it comes in waves, right? Like, it's always kind of like there's always something that comes in. Maybe it's like new, or a lot of times maybe it's not even new. Maybe it's just something that's from what we used to hear before that kind of makes a return.
Facts.
So, you know what I mean? And half the music now is pretty much just samples and just, you know what I mean? So I always say, like, we got to look at the past to see what's coming up for the future.
I agree.
Right. So, and R&B is one of those things that has, like, a rich history. So, you know what I mean? I like I said, I ain't like a Boyz II Men, you know what I mean? Boyz II Men, that's where, if I'm not mistaken, Casey and JoJo came from, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Talking about some voices.
Well, that era.
Right,
Casey and JoJo was in Jodeci.
It was in Joe. Okay. See, I knew I was.
They
I knew
all
it was
like
somewhere.
they all in the same era.
Somewhere on there.
About to smack you in the face.
He had to put me up on some game, man. I just, you know what I mean? Because I try to keep. I try to keep up with some of the stuff, but it's a lot, man. Like, it's crazy, and I don't think people like really think about it. Is especially with music, we kind of cycle through artists very quickly.
No, we do.
I feel like, they're hot now and then they're gone tomorrow. You know what I mean? I feel like really, really like, once you have an artist that really has some real substance and that's really like strong in what they do. Like those are kind of the artists that really like maintain and really like stick for a long time. But I do feel like we're at a point where like we kind of cycle through artists very, very, very quickly. And even back then, I mean, if you look at it, right? I mean, back then, I mean, we can rattle off as a bunch of groups that I you know what I mean at the time. So, what do you do, you know, with that? Do you kind of feed your core fan base? Are you looking to incorporate different people into your music or things of that nature?
So I look to incorporate a lot of people who I feel like have a lot of talent, because I feel like, how do I say this? It's hard to explain. Well, first of all, I incorporate a lot of old school, like 90s feel to my music.
Okay.
And then, like, my circle of friends is pretty much all musicians.
Okay.
Like Late Night, Brian, Nadia vibes. I should say her. I'm not gonna say government. Like my circle of friends, like at the beginning it was like party turn up, but as I became like a real full-time musician, it turned into like all my friends are musicians. So like a lot of my friends kind of helped me with my music. Like Late Night really incorporated like a certain EDM style to my music that wasn't there until I met him.
Right.
And everybody gotta get a little bit of fist pumps in their system sometimes.
And how does the writing process work for you, man? So I know a lot of people like when they the writing process might not be as easy for some people as it is for others. And I know some people, you know, they do need a little bit of help. How does your writing process work? Do you kind of get into a flow, like,
Bro, this shit's crazy, bro.
Do maybe drinking? Maybe do you need quiet? Like,
Bro, I be sitting there like just going at it. I'm not even done, and yet he's already like has something for it. I'm not even joking. How his stuff is crazy.
so you have the rough
crazy.
draft of the beat, and he's already got a full song.
Yes.
So truthfully, the way I record, I have to record on something. Rather to my phone, I record it immediately. Like when I go to the studio, I'll be like, listen, I need to be in the studio ASAP so I can record this. But I record it on my phone to keep it there because it's easy to keep.
Yes.
So when I go in the studio, I could play my phone and be like, guys, so this is where I started from. This is the groundwork, and then I work from there. I'll be honest, I don't use a notebook a lot. I keep a lot of stuff in my brain. Just because I feel like a notebook's easy to lose. Even a phone.
That's true.
Like I've had times where I've had a bunch of stuff on my phone, then my phone broke, and then all that stuff is gone. So I kind of just keep it in my brain and record it as soon as possible. That's kind of like my mindset.
That's pretty fire. I mean, I think I think Lil Wayne and like Jay-Z, they both said that they don't even write things anymore. They just kind of like keep it, you know, up in the old noodle. So I mean, that's pretty dope. I try to incorporate a lot of like the phone, because man, I will forget some stuff. Like, you know, especially on a creative tip, you know what I mean? I don't do writing as far as music, but I like to do a lot of writing as far as like creativity and things of that nature. Okay. So I kind of have to put it somewhere, because if not, like I will completely forget about it, because I'm so focused on maybe like a new idea or another concept or whatever it might be. So you're able to kind of like juggle that and keep that all like in the mainframe.
Because I go one by one. Like I'm one of those people where if I'm stuck in an idea, I'm gonna stay on that idea until I finish it. Okay. Like it's very rare that I leave a session and it's not close to done or done.
Okay.
Because I'm like, listen, if I started recording this, even if it's ends up not being something I use immediately,
right,
I still just want to make sure I get through it. So when I go back to it, I'm just improving an idea I already made, instead of coming up with a fresher idea and having to sit on it and wait longer.
I get what you're saying. You're saying you want to take your idea and push it as far as you can before you kind of like work on something else. And that's a great way to. That's a great way to do it, right? That's kind of like taking your time and perfecting, you know, whatever you have in your mind. You know what I mean? So I mean, I like that. I'm envious. I wish I could do that. Because sometimes, like I said, it's hard. You know what I mean? Obviously with the podcast, man, it's just like you have an idea, but you got to kind of put it on hold because there's so many more steps to, and I would imagine it's the same with you when it comes to music and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's tricky. I think, you know, people at home might think it's like a one-step process, but whether you're doing, you know, music or anything else, it's very layered and it's very intricate.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And then when they get it, they're just like, man, this should sound good, and they have no idea how crazy we go with the the minute details. We're like pushing this here, a second off here, a fraction twist there. You know what I mean? So I think that's super dope, man, and that is super dope. And then late night, what's the last thing that you guys have worked on together?
Besides his latest single, I think second to latest single, Muse. There's going to be a couple of more things. He is on my album.
Okay.
Yes.
So
That's gonna be it's gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be very interesting. And then he's gonna push me for another specific project that a lot of people actually like within this series.
When you're creating, do you hear, and you have like a certain project you're on the hop on, do you hear his voice kind of on the project as you go, or is it kind of like, hey, Marquise, come listen to some of this stuff, and then he just works the magic?
50-50 on it. Okay. So sometimes I sit there, I'm like, all right, this would definitely be perfect for him. Or I want to challenge him and be like, all right, let's see if he can do this. There's other times where he's sitting there like, so you're not gonna put me on this?
Facts.
Hey, closed mouths don't get fed, right? So sometimes you gotta be like, hey, put me on here, bro. Nah, that's fire, man. That's super fire. So I have just a few questions, man. Like I said, with a lot of things going on in the world, what are your stances on right now? What's going on with Diddy, Puff Daddy, P Diddy, Mr. Sean Carter, whatever the fuck he goes by these days?
Johnson & Johnson.
Johnson & Johnson, the diddler. Like, what are your thoughts on that, man?
So first of all, at this point, I feel like he's guilty. It's like you can't deny it at this point. It's like, bro, like it's too much you're hearing now. There is some false narratives coming out. Like
there are.
Like the girl who texted, like the girl who texted. Sent the text to her boyfriend, and it came out that she basically told him like, "Yo, back up my lie." Pretty much, you're like,
the fuck?
you're like.
Was it the one where she did like the whole press conference crying? And, So they caught they caught her messaging. I think the guy who was supposedly that she claimed was in the video with Diddy. She actually messaged him too and was like, "Hey, if you sign this paper, like I won't put you in the." And he's like, "Bro, I wasn't even in New York when this happened. How could it have been me?" So I think that there's a lot of people that are coming out the woodwork and they're like, it's a money grab right now, right? I think it's a money grab. I'm not saying that he hasn't done some of the things they said he's done, but I really feel like right now is the time to hop on the Diddy train and get yourself some money.
Everybody did, because like there's that hotline, it blew the fuck up.
right. The hotline, it was like I think it was 120 people. And I think there was a separate lawyer with another 50 people who were going to come forward, and it was all supposed to be separate lawsuits, something like that, civil suits. So I don't know, man. I hope that Johnson & Johnson sponsorship when he gets out is strong, because
if they're going to let him out.
Because if not, okay, serious question, man. If I'm bugging or not, right? Before this whole shit came out, if you get invited to a Diddy party, I feel like you're going to a Diddy party, right?
Nah, I would say before this all came out. Yes, but there were rumors before.
There were some rumors that some wild shit was going on.
They were saying that the Diddy parties were crazy. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm gonna sit there and be like, maybe I'm curious, but you're not touching my booty hole. Nah,
hey yo,
I do not want no oil right now.
I heard you baby oil king.
I thought that was you, bro.
Homeless man bathing in baby oil.
I also will say though, he's bad for business too though, because like I heard stories about just how he did business.
Yeah,
like Day 26. I don't know if you heard they had an interview.
Yes,
they were like, "Yo, we sold 1 million. Our album went platinum," and Diddy came out and gave us $30 checks.
I believe it.
That's wild.
I mean, if you look back on it, and Marquise got a point. If you look back on it, they talked about how he kept a lot of Biggie's money. So a lot of the money from Biggie, supposedly he kept a lot. He kept a lot of percentages on his what's it called? Not the masters, but I'm pretty sure he had that too. But I can't remember. I think it was publishing and stuff like that. So he kept a lot of it. And I think
he kept everybody's publishing.
I remember watching it where it was like Diddy was like, I think Biggie was like, "Hey man, I'm short on money. Like, is there any way we can?" He's like, "Hey man, you sell me, your 20% of your publishing, I'll give you another $200K." And it's like you think about how much he's making on it now. you're like, goddamn, like he got him. He really did get him. So there's a lot of shiesty shit that goes down when it goes to Diddy. I've heard like stories on top of stories from Day 26 to Danity Kane. Like, so as far as a businessman, I will say this, man, he's a good businessman. Is he a good person? No, he's a shitty person, but he's a great businessman. You know what I mean? He's kept the money in his pocket. He's kind of done what he was supposed to do, right? But it sucks. Hey, Marquise, great question, right? You as an artist, how do you take, or what measures do you put in place to make sure that you're getting your fair swing when you're walking into deals, performances, stuff like that?
Ooh. So, number one, contracts. Like, I make sure the contracts get read by someone who can understand what's in the contract.
Okay.
Because they will put some words in there that you won't know exactly what they're saying.
Right. They hit with the onomatopoeia.
Exactly. That only lawyers can understand. So I make sure, like, I always tell people, never sign a contract as soon as you get the contract.
True. Very true.
Look it over with some people who you know get contracts regularly.
Yep.
Just make sure you look at them. Look at the percentages. Always edit contracts. Because you never, I would never sign a contract the way it looks because there's no such thing as a perfect contract.
Nah, there's never going to be a perfect contract. You know?
Nope.
I'm always going to edit it and then see what they do with the edits. That's kind of my approach. Like, I'm going to edit this contract. I let people know usually. Right. Listen.
It's like, I'm going to come back with my fucking demands.
I'm going to come back with my demands and then we'll see where this goes. And that's kind of, those are a couple measures I take. Two, I'm one of those people where I don't really want to be signed anyways.
I get that.
Like, I'm one of those. If I could find an investor, that would be my route personally.
I hear that. And that's just, you know what I mean? And again, right, because I kind of see it both ways, right, where it's always like you hear a lot of stories of people being taken advantage of. So I feel bad for those artists who do get taken advantage of because it's not – the system isn't built for the artists, unfortunately. It's built for all the higher-ups to make their money. And, you know what I mean, maybe you might be famous, but it doesn't mean that you're going to get a check cut for you. You know what I mean? So I do understand that part of it. But a part of me also understands that you kind of gotta pay your dues in a certain part of it. So it's kind of back and forth. I do hate those people who kind of get
screwed the fuck over.
Get screwed over, man, and it's like it's not fair. You know what I mean? Like I always talk about like what's his name? Big Sean, right? Big Sean talks about his contract with Kanye, right? And he says it was the absolutely worst contract that he had ever signed in his entire life, right? But he said, you know what? I knew signing this contract, it was going to put me in a place where I could re-up, you know what I mean? Come back stronger on the next contract, make a bunch of money. So he took a chance on himself, and I mean, shit, look at him now.
That's facts.
You know what I'm saying? How do you feel that?
That's another way to look at it because, like, a lot of artists will say that, but then you got to kind of look at it like, if you didn't sign a contract and get the exposure you got from the label, independently, you wouldn't be able to do what you're doing now. So that's kind of like another way to look at it, especially in Big Sean's case. Because, like, I wouldn't know who Big Sean was if it was for Kanye.
Right.
That's me being completely honest.
No, that's real. That's real. That's fair. That's fair.
And there's a lot of artists like that. Like as much as they complain, I'm like, listen, if it wasn't for them, like, I wouldn't know who you are. So
right. Yay, listen. A lot of people don't want to tell the truth, but you're right. There's a lot of artists that Drake done put on, but you know, it's culture vulture when he does it, man.
I get it, my nigga.
When Diddy does it, it's business.
I agree with the Drake. I actually agree with the Drake comment, actually. I feel like as much as people hate Drake, Drake did put a lot of artists on.
He did.
No, that's true.
Like,
I get it. I totally get it.
Like, there's a lot of artists who I wouldn't know who they are if it wasn't for Drake.
Right, exactly.
I'm not disagreeing.
There are artists that have gotten their biggest hits from working with Drake. You know what I mean? Like, to this day, like, it's probably their biggest song ever. And like I said, he gets a lot of flack, and I think, and I've talked to Late Night about this, and maybe you can chime in on how you feel about this. But I feel like Drake has never been, I guess they've never seen him as truly part of the culture because of his upbringing, you know what I mean, Degrassi, white mom. So they've never really seen him as part of the culture. So, I mean, when you're making great music, it's hard to deny it. You know what I mean? When it's good music, it's good
That's
music.
facts.
But I feel like he has never truly been accepted into the culture. You know what I mean? Like they've never sat there and is like, he one of us. You know what I mean? Like, he's just making hits, so you can't deny him. You know?
Truthfully, I think of Drake kind of like LeBron. Truthfully,
My God.
like if you look at the old heads of the game, like they'll never accept LeBron as one of the greatest of all time.
right.
They always say Jordan. They'll bring up some couple other names, but you're like, listen, after Jordan, you can't really say anybody else.
Right.
Like whether you like Drake or not, like he's doing numbers. He's been in the game for damn near 20 years now.
Right.
So it's like you got to put some respect on that man's name.
You got to.
Now did he lose to Kendrick? Absolutely. He lost, like lyrically. I'm sorry, he lost to Kendrick. But what I will say, he was Kendrick.
Hey,
we're not gonna lie.
touching nerves over here, bro.
We're not gonna lie. He did. Lyrically, he lost to Kendrick. He did. But what I will say, hold on. What I will say, but now I'm gonna give Kendrick credit. I'm gonna give Kendrick took Drake's approach and use it against him.
I think he did, and I will say this. I think that's why he won. I don't think he won lyrically. I feel like when you looked at it, right, Kendrick did what Kendrick was doing, and then Drake did what he did. I think when it flipped was when they literally flipped each other's style.
No, facts.
I feel like once Drake went to that slower, more like introspective Kendrick style, I feel like that's where people were just like, eh. And I feel like when Kendrick switched and did the Drake style, people went fucking bananas.
No, it's
And
facts.
I feel like that was kind of the misstep because before that, it was even to me. It was tit for tat.
Nah, it was.
And then once he dropped that, and it was just like, damn, man, like Drake's my guy, but you know, we sitting here dancing and shit. We're like, fuck, the song is good. You know what I mean?
It
Like,
really is.
you can't
You're
refuse
like,
that the song
damn.
is good. You know what I mean? So shout outs to him, bro. But there's a lot of shit going on, man, right now. In between, you know, them and the 20 guys that he's beefing with and stuff like that.
I'm looking forward to ASAP Rocky's album. I'll let you know that.
There he is. There it is.
I don't think anybody's been looking forward to that for the last 20 years, bro.
I'll be honest.
I'm looking forward to it.
I
I
was-
said I wasn't ready, but I'm looking forward to it.
I'm going to say this.
looking forward to it.
The only time I will look forward to, I'm an A$AP Rocky fan. Let me make this very clear. But the only way I'm looking forward to that album, if I see a track that's featuring Rihanna, then I was like, okay, because.
It's his baby mom. She got to show up.
Hey man, I like ASAP. So
But people been waiting for Rihanna to
like
come out
Ferg.
for years.
I like Ferg.
I like
though, too.
Ferg. Like Ferg is my favorite
facts.
out the ASAP mob. Like he's my favorite. Ferg is fire. All right. So another guy that we just talked about who's kind of getting a lot of the shit going on right now is Kanye. So Kanye's being sued for a lot of craziness right now.
That should be normal nowadays.
And that's the crazy part that I'm just like, you know, when Diddy is like, oh my God, I can't believe he did that.
Yeah,
when they
but
were like, yo, Kanye, I'm like, oh yeah, I figured.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, Diddy is now blowing up because he's using that in the limelight, and a lot of that stuff that he's pushed back purposely is now he can't push that back anymore. Whereas Kanye he's always been in the limelight. Everybody like paparazzi, he's always on his motherfucking dick. He's always in the media saying some shit because and half of that is probably bipolar disorder, which should not be an excuse. Should not be an excuse at all.
Facts.
But Kanye's always in the limelight.
Did you say a medical disorder is not an excuse for talking crazy?
He said it twice like he was drunk. We were making it great.
But yeah, Kanye's always out there. And of course, everybody's gonna sit there and be like, yeah, we're not surprised because he's always out there doing shit.
Listen, I feel like
Crazy shit, too.
bipolar is the Tourette's of the mind. So it's like whatever he's got going on in there. There's a lot of shit going on.
Yeah, but you
over
gotta admit, like some of that's probably like the truth in his motherfucking head.
I will say this. Listen, Kanye to me is a very intelligent guy. Is he dealing with a mental illness? Absolutely, 100%. I can never tell you he's not.
Yeah.
I think he's an absolute genius, but again, like I do think he's dealing with some shit right now, and I think that those are the parts that everybody clips, right? The breakdowns, the meltdowns, like those are the parts that everybody takes, and they're just like, yo, Kanye's one crazy motherfucker. And I mean, and to a certain extent, they're right. How do you feel about that?
He's a crazy motherfucker, truthfully. But I will say you can't deny Kanye's impact, though.
Absolutely.
Like,
Oh yeah, he's an inspiration. He is an inspiration.
To me, I feel like to this day, Kanye has one of the greatest hip hop albums out in the last 2 decades.
Which ones?
Graduation.
Yes.
Yes.
College Dropout.
Yes.
I feel like those are the 2 greatest hip hop albums put out in the last 25 years.
I love Graduation.
That's
I love those
one.
2 albums. Yeah.
What I will say is I think the industry got to him. I think that is part of.
You think they cracked the walnut
Yeah.
at some point? Yeah.
Yeah, and then they
You think it was the Diddy party that did it? Or?
and then they started to kick him out.
Was it the Diddy party that did it?
I think, and this is an interesting take. I think
Nah,
it was.
actually, like he's gone against like the Diddy parties. He really has. He's actually talked about that on Drink Champs.
I actually think it was the. I personally think it was the separation from Jay-Z. That's my personal thought.
So, all right. So, kind of like give us some more background on that. Do you think it was like the separation as far as like him?
Remember, he
he was going crazy, or was it him just kind of doing his own thing?
No, when he was going crazy, he was talking, kind of talking about like.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Was it that, or was it?
So I think like part of it was when, you know how when you go crazy, when you always had those couple people who always have your back.
Right.
Jay-Z was that person. He'd go crazy, and Jay-Z be like, "Yo, you crazy? But I got you."
Always got that crazy
I
friend.
think once Jay-Z kind of went, because it was small like instances, but Jay-Z would kind of be able to talk him down. I think once Jay-Z kind of put his hands up and kind of like backed away, I don't blame Jay-Z for doing it, to be honest, because Jay-Z has his own responsibilities to handle.
Right.
But I think once that happened, now he ain't got nobody to kind of like get in his head, to be honest.
Rein him in, kind of like tell him to chill.
So it's like, and the way Kanye looks at it, at least with Jay-Z, it's somebody who's above him, respectfully. And
I see that.
Like right now, like the people he's around is like Ty Dolla $ign. Like,
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
They're the yes man. Right.
Exactly. They're gonna yes anything that he says. So it's kind of like
Like yes, Lord Kanye.
now he's in a circle full of yes men. So it's kind of like I feel like it's letting him do what he wants, and no one can really stop him at this point.
That's very true.
That's kind of how I look at it.
That's very true. So I mean, I don't know if you guys have been like keeping up with some of the rumors that's been going on, but supposedly, like I said, he's got a lawsuit because he supposedly he essayed his and if you know what SA stands for, his what is it? His previous was a manager or a personal assistant SA, an SA. I'll text it to you, big dog.
We can't,
I can't say it. Listen,
we can't say it.
because then they're gonna flag this video. But anyways, yeah. So basically, he got caught up on that, and then there's a lot of stuff going on with his current wife. Where they're saying that he's on some Diddy stuff with her, right? Where the last thing I saw is that he bought her he bought her a corn star for Christmas.
Technically, he does,
And that's what that's the rumors going around.
Nah, technically, he is addicted to porn. He does have a porn addiction.
Is it safe to say, fellas, right?
Porn addiction.
And listen, man, hold on. Is it safe to say? Is it safe to say? And I'm gonna listen. Just humor me with this. Is it safe to say, when you're a famous person, right, and you got a shit ton of money that you don't know what to do with, right? You probably burn out all your sexual fantasies within the first couple years, right? You're popping, you got a bunch of money, women love you. You burn out all your sexual fantasies within the first couple years. And then after a while, you
Blackjack and hookers. Blackjack and hookers is what you supposed to do. Blackjack and hookers.
Not necessarily in my case.
He said not necessarily.
I'll say this: when I was younger, absolutely. But now that I'm older,
He's probably buying chocolates and everything like that for that one girl that basically wants to be in the DM and shit like that.
that right female though. I mean that right girl. I mean
the one that's gonna get the position.
Yeah, facts. Because I'm at that point to where like I feel like I went through my whole phase when I was in my 20s. I'm in my 30s now. It's kind of time to build that dynasty.
Yo, why does everybody have hoes and phases with me, man? Come on, man.
Liar.
What are you talking about?
God.
What are you talking about?
Hey, hold on. When was your last relationship?
Just? Nigga, what?
When was your last relationship?
Okay, I'm not gonna hold you. It's like maybe like 4 or 5 months ago or some shit like that.
Exactly.
Your last relationship.
Relationships don't count.
How long did the relationship last for?
Oh my God, do I really have to say it? Do I have to fucking say it?
How long did it last for?
God damn. month.
So
I remember
really,
that one, actually.
really, how old are you now?
Huh?
How old are you now?
I don't want to say.
Okay, so
Damn.
so you're saying you've been on a 20+ whole phase?
What are you talking about?
It seems like I'm gonna give you some. I'm gonna give you some. Right. So when you get into a relationship, right, and you're there for a couple years, right, it resets your like clock for your whole phase. So your whole phase usually,
Yo, what?
your whole phase usually has to last. And here's the thing. Here's
Yes,
the
it
trick.
does.
Here's the trick. Your whole phase has to last 1 to 2 years, right, and then you get back another relationship, and if that doesn't work, you reset. You got another 1 to 2 years to get back in a relationship.
Yeah, but I don't get
Now-
bitches though.
but this-
I mean, I don't get females.
Oh, this is
I don't get females.
So this is the problem, right? So what happens is when you go,
No, I'm not saying I don't get females.
When you go
like
to
that.
20 years in a
I
whole
say
phase,
I don't get females at all.
When you go-
I don't get females at all.
when you go
That's what I'm
20 years
saying.
in a whole phase,
He's
you become
lying.
numb to it. You
He's
get what I'm
lying.
saying?
I don't get. Yo, I swear to God, I'm like the awkward nigga that don't get shit. Yo.
Listen, get yourself.
Liar.
Listen, get yourself a girl that'll ruin your life for at least it's 9 months. Say about 9 months.
What are you talking about? I get women and what's it called? And I ruin their life.
Right. But you got to get one to ruin your life. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, facts.
I'm telling you. That's
I've went through that before.
Listen, because listen,
I went through that before.
Toxicity is only fun when it goes both ways. Not one way, you know what I mean? So once you get that going, right, then your next 2 years are gonna be fucking amazing. They're probably gonna be the best 2 years of your life. You're gonna make the most money you've ever made. You're gonna start hitting the gym. You're gonna be a whole different you. I promise you.
No, it's happened before.
Let me ask you a question. Do you feel like you've been in that relationship yet?
What do you mean that relationship?
The one that makes like. Have you ever
What's the one?
made? Have you ever had music inspired by a relationship you've been in?
I mean, we did go through that breakup album that we like created.
He went through the breakup.
No. We both. Authentic Black too.
But I'm asking, was that based on one person though?
Well, it was on my what's it called? Like, and when I produced how I felt because of the fact that like, yo, I had a chick that was trying to play me on Valentine's Day, and that was not going to motherfucking happen. And I actually liked that girl too.
Because I feel like for example, and I think Brian can agree with me. Once you get in that relationship, like most of your breakup songs is about that relationship.
And I haven't.
That's what I'm asking.
I haven't had that yet.
You just lost the V card.
We gotta
What
get.
the fuck are you talking about?
You just lost the V.
No.
Exclusive on NHP Studios. He lost the
Bullshit.
V card.
That is total bullshit.
I will
Talk about the
say.
dashiki. Talk about the dashiki.
I will say, right? Late night, I think
This ain't Boys in the Hood.
I think you need to find a relationship for a little bit. I think you need to reset your clock, bro. Your clock is like completely past due. It's like an oil change.
I'm not gonna hold you.
Yo.
I like being single, and I'm not gonna hold you. I just want to fuck something right now.
And I understand where you're coming from, but you need an oil change. I'm telling you, bro. Listen,
Bruh, I'm a mechanic. Of course, I do my oil changes.
I always get into a relationship every couple years. You know why? Because I need that shit reset.
Wait. We ain't, well, okay.
Talk about your car.
Okay then.
No. Listen, you need that shit reset. Listen, every couple years you
He's
get into a
not lying.
relationship. Listen, and it's the same person. Listen, we make up and break up all the time. You know what I mean? So it works.
King is back.
You know what I mean?
I don't know, yo. Once some shit happens, yo, you can't just come back to me. I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm just that type of person.
Listen,
where it's
but
like,
when
yo,
you're the toxic one, you're the reason why.
Hold up. Prime example. You met me 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
How many of my relationships do you know?
I remember the girl that was stalking you.
Exactly. And then
Let's see. There was the other one. What's the other one?
exactly.
You don't-
See,
you don't gotta say
it's
it.
2 and 5 years.
See?
So
you reset.
exactly. I reset.
Got his oil change. Late night, you need your oil change.
Oh my god. Hey man, I just want to fuck something right now.
Hey, listen, man.
You got options, bro.
Shout outs to you, bro. I mean, you're DJ late night, bro. That shouldn't be too
Exactly.
difficult.
yo.
Nah, but I don't even think I'm a hoe though.
Most
what are
hosts
we
don't think
doing
they're
here?
hosts.
That's very true. Most villains don't think
Most
they are.
hosts don't think they're hosts, bro. Come on.
The Joker think he's right. So talk to us a little bit.
That man Joker is in a relationship with Harley before he died. Okay.
Anyways, so what do you think a hoe is? Please give me your explanation on what a hoe is.
Late night 101.
Late night 101.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
Damn. It is somebody Yo, I hate you, yo.
Who gave this nigga the buzz? Who gave this nigga the buzz, bro?
Yo. Damn, man.
Go ahead.
I can't even explain it because it's just hard to explain, like, you know, hoe shit. Because I don't really see myself as a hoe.
So let me ask you this: how can you want something if you don't know what it is necessarily?
No, but I mean,
Like,
there's different. I know for a fact there's different levels to wholeness.
oh yeah, there is.
That for sure
Absolutely.
is. That for sure is. That for sure.
And I need, and honestly, I do need my bottom bitch.
I mean, everybody needs their bottom bitch. This is very true.
Yeah. So it's like you need the bottom bitch.
That's the cornerstone of how you build your building.
You
for
need
sure.
a little bit of the freaky smurf.
The
You know what I'm saying?
Explain to me the freaky smurf.
And that girl would do some unspeakable things, yo. If you wanted her. To.
That's the nasty one. That's,
Yeah,
the one,
that's
that,
what
that's
the
the one
bottom
that that's
bitches
the one that
though.
licks
Dang.
toes and all that good shit.
I mean, shit. If she want, I mean, she
Oh,
into,
nah.
if she's into that. She's
Oh,
into that. I don't
hold
know.
up.
Nah, man. I need somebody to match my freak, yo. We just not doing.
You
we just not doing much stuff.
You like licking toes?
No.
Oh,
She licking
okay.
my
I
toes.
was looking at you like,
Hell nah. Yo, I'm not gonna hold you, homeless man.
Homeless
You be
man.
doing-
Homeless
you be
man
doing-
is
you
what's
be doing
wrong with
some
getting your
nasty-
toes licked.
You be doing some nasty shit, yo. I don't know. You be doing some nasty shit.
What's wrong with licking toes?
Yo,
Hey, some
Bro.
niggas
no,
are.
no. I'm saying, pause.
what,
I'm saying,
what if she's running through
I
the
don't want my-
wilderness, yo? And,
Fresh out the shower.
I don't want my toes.
I don't
licked.
know,
That's what
man.
I'm saying.
Hey,
You're not licking my toes.
I know
Fuck that.
I know a couple shorties that'll lick your toes clean. Like that shit is crazy, bro. Listen.
Hell no.
You ever seen them shits shine before?
Hell no.
That shorty got a mouth like a buffer.
Listen,
that shit's going through like a
I
fucking
had a
car
girl-
wash and shit.
I had a girl ask to eat my ass. I almost drop kicked her. I was like, hell no. I was like, hell no. I'm all set.
Hey,
Yeah,
look,
that's some
I just
scary
want
shit.
somebody to match my freak because I mean I'm not gonna hold you. There was one girl, like she really did match my freak, and I was like my member was feeling tonsils, yo. So I need to experience that again. That wasn't supposed to be funny. I don't care. I'm just saying that I didn't match my freak. I don't know what's up with these goddamn like sound effects, yo. You suck.
Somebody gave him the button. He's just going crazy. Goddamn.
I know.
It's true.
Oh man. All right. So I mean, what would you say? So I mean, you say you're not sure what a hoe phase would be, or
'Cause
what would be considered a hoe.
I don't think of myself as a hoe.
Hey Marquise, what would you consider a hoe phase or just a hoe in general?
I would feel like, to be honest, this fucking numerous girls with no label. For
We don't need a label.
yeah, but when I said that, it's only fucking one girl with no label. Usually when I go into my with no label and stuff like that with my music, I'm talking about fucking one girl with no label. Like, if you fucking like 5, 6, 7, 8 girls with no label, then I mean you a hoe. Like you a hoe. Like, and that's what I would never do. That's just me personally. Like I'm not gonna lie, I've had my whole phase, so I've had like 3
He's
or
a
4.
good guy though. He's a good guy.
Yeah, I've had 3 or 4 like in my past. But I'm 30 now, so I feel like, 30's that age where I had to kind of
Slow it down.
all right, it's trying to slow down, man. I'm getting tired. Whew. Now women are to the point where they cost, and you're like, listen.
Is it safe to say, right? And maybe it's just me, but is it safe to say that men, as they get older, they kind of snap out of their whole phase, and as women get older, they kind of snap into their whole phase?
Yes. yes. So I'm actually gonna. I'll actually say why. So I feel like men go through that whole phase early in their age, so that when we get older, it's we want to move forward and really find the one. I feel like women go through that stage when they're at that age and they want to find the one, so that when that situation kind of goes left, they're like, damn, I don't know what it feels like to be single. So now they want to be single and explore their options and so on and so on. So I feel like we go through it the opposite way. That's just my
I
thought
do.
on
I
it.
think so too. I personally feel like females and men, we kind of, even from the way we mature, it's very different.
Nah, facts.
Right? Like for sure, like you know what I mean. And I know women are gonna hate this, but listen, men get better with wine, women become stale oranges. But anyways, so
Damn.
the older y'all get, y'all turn extremely wrinkly, and you know what I mean, a lot of cellulite.
Hey man, I don't care about that. So you like?
I love all my grannies. You know what I'm saying?
Child got big old legs. Oh yeah.
But I do think, so I will say this, right? I do think that men and women, they do kind of mature differently. And I do think women, they kind of want that relationship up front. Like they're kind of looking for that up front. And unfortunately, the guys are not looking for that up front.
Nah, facts.
And that's why it's almost kind of difficult to find that medium. When you do, it's an amazing thing, right? When you find somebody who's at that point when they're like, all right, when the man is out of his whole phase and the women, just before she gets into the whole phase, you know, you guys get into that relationship. It's magic. Works amazing, right? But I do feel like as we get older, we're kind of like, all right, man, like this shit was fun. Now we're not doing it no more. And women spend so much time trying to look for serious relationships that when they get older, they're just like, I just want to have fun now. I just want to drink a lot and make bad decisions.
You're not lying. Even
Yeah.
if you look at TV
seen that
shows,
before.
like if you look at TV shows when the old woman gets not even cheated on, I will say cheated on, gets cheated on by the guy. Immediately they go to the club with their girls. I gotta call my girls. Let's go to the club. And then they meet some guy there. You're like, oh, should I go back to my husband or should I deal with that? You're like, whole phase is beginning.
On the poster, Batman Begins, like, here you go, man. It's where this shit started. Yeah, man. I want to ask you a question, bro. I know that you were on the committee for the R&B Festival.
Yes.
Can you speak a little bit on your experience with that?
It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
That was real fun.
I feel like the artists need to have a little bit more input, though. Like, because I feel like even in being in the Zoom calls, like I felt like it was a lot of, they wanted us there just to be there, not really letting us speak. So I feel like let the artists, because I really want, I feel like Heartbeat Festival could be something very special, something very big. But it's like, if you're not letting the artists pick, like we had to make our own phone thing separate from them because they literally weren't letting us speak.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, we're going to have the Zoom on this day, and then we're going to have the artist Zoom the following month, and then we're going to hope that this one person can get all of our points across. And I'm kind of like, if you want this to be an artist thing, you got to let the artist kind of speak their mind. That's just how I look at it.
Word. That's very true. Where do you think that divide comes from, man? Because I mean, we see it all the time in business and labels and all that. They kind of put the artists last, right? And I mean, that's not very fun. And again, if you're using, and again, I use the term use as not necessarily use, but I mean, if you're collaborating with artists, the reason that they are what they are is because they're artists, right? They're creatives. They're building these things that you guys like so much. So why not allow them to be part of the process, right? Because they're going to be more in tune with what's going on because they're in the field, right? A lot of times I feel like maybe those who are higher up or those who are coordinating might not be necessarily in that field, or they might not necessarily be in the trenches, just like the artist is.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
So where do you think and how do you think we can fix that?
So, for one, the divide comes from, like you were just saying, a lot of the people who are planning these things aren't really artists. They're not in the field. They haven't been artists. They have that one person who is an artist, but they don't really give him a lot of opinion. They're like, yeah, it's money thing. And it's like, look, I get it, but I don't to a certain extent. Because, like, I feel like if you're an artist, we know where money should be spent.
Right.
And I think that if they gave the artist more of an opportunity to kind of see where the money's getting spent and say, hey, we could do this. Because you have a lot of artists within Heartbeat who could do a lot of the stuff they pay for. So it's like vending, for example. Like, they paid thousands and thousands of dollars for, like, vending and stuff. When if you looked within the artists, we probably could have got that stuff for a lot lower.
Right.
Could have paid for their spots,
Exactly.
and we could have got bigger budgets for a bigger attraction.
Exactly. And what they consider a
Homeless
big
man knows what's going
attraction
on.
and what we consider a big attraction are two different things.
Right.
Like they're like, yeah, this artist is a pretty big artist. He'll be able to do this, that, and the third. And you're like, you're a big artist to you, but not a big artist to the people who are actually on the bill.
Right.
I mean, the last time they were famous was 20 years ago.
I mean, he's not lying.
I mean, but then again, like you said, that's kind of the disconnect. That's kind of the disconnect, right? Like you said, like they're kind of going off of what they think is relevant or what they kind of think is like what's moving. And I always feel like I said, in a creative space, when you're talking about music, when you're talking about anything that you need creatives for, I always think you need to look at those people who are actually in there still doing what they're doing. You know what I mean? Those who are still kind of like, grinding in their field. And you look at those people and you're like, okay, like you guys have the insight. You're the ones we need to look to. Like, what do you think is the next step? I feel that's kind of, it's a big disconnect with how things work. And I feel like that's why a lot of times, like, you'll see where maybe like even labels, right? They might look at somebody and they might be like, man, we don't see a future there. A couple of years later, they're fucking killing shit. You know what I mean? They're one of the best of the best. And it's the same thing with even sports, right? Like you'll see a guy and they're just like, man, that guy didn't even make it in the first round. And it's like 3 years later, he's a superstar. And it's like, I feel like there's a disconnect, right? I feel like people are so used to doing things the old way. And this is with everything. I feel like they're so afraid of letting in some of this new blood. Look at the presidents. All the presidents are 70, 80 years old.
You ain't lying.
Right? So just kind of like, and I know I kind of asked the question, but, just what do you think needs to be done, or what do you think we can do to kind of put ourselves in a position where we can be like, hey, we're the guys in the trenches. We're the guys who are doing this stuff. How can we get a voice?
So for one, I feel like they need to, like, the people who plan these things need to stop being gatekeepers.
Right.
I feel like they have the people who they think are we'll call them the big dogs, when they're really not. And I think they need to open themselves up a little bit more.
Right.
That's one. Two, the one thing that Heartbeat did do that I did slightly like, they did it way too late. But I felt like when they let us see the budget, I was like, okay, this is kind of cool, because now you're letting us see the numbers. You're letting us see where the money goes to. They did it, like, literally, like, the month before. It was already done. But I was like, if you let us see, like, all right, this is what we're working with. Let's see what you guys think the plan is for this, that, and the third. Because I felt like, if, just to be honest, for you to have a festival and not put any money towards marketing is kind of crazy.
I also think that's insane.
I feel like that's insane too.
I think that's insane. Yeah.
Like the reason why the festivals and the Puerto Rican Day Parade, Hartford Taste was very successful.
Facts.
They were on the news, the radio, print, digital magazines.
Well,
that was a lot of marketing.
I will say this. Listen. And, maybe I'm wrong. And, I mean, listen, I don't know them. I'm not speaking from a place of like, trying to bash anyone. I'm just speaking from a place just as a consumer and somebody who's, obviously in the media. I feel like whenever there's a lack of marketing toward a particular event or toward a particular anything, a movie, an album, I feel that kind of shows the loss of not interest, but like the loss of like, how you call it, it almost shows that they don't think it'll do well, right? It's almost like we don't think it's worth putting the time and the effort to market this because we don't think it'll amount to anything, right? So you always look at things like movies or like albums where you're just like, why didn't they market this? You know what I mean? And when it comes to guys, like what drives me crazy about a guy like Drake, right? And it's also very cool, but it's infuriating, is if he was to put some sort of marketing behind him, I feel like his music would be absolutely ridiculous right about now. But he's very notorious for like not marketing and not doing those certain things. You know what I mean? So he's still the biggest artist in the world, so I'm not gonna argue with what he's done. But you know what I mean? Like I've always felt like whenever you don't put money into something or in the marketing for a certain project, it's because you don't believe in it. And again, I don't want to speak for them. I don't know them personally, so I don't want to speak for them. But I just feel like marketing is extremely important nowadays. And if you really want to like show people that, hey, listen, I believe in you and I want this situation to do well, you gotta put dollars toward marketing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to do that.
I believe in you.
I appreciate you. You gonna put money through my marketing?
I'm broke. Get to me like in a couple of weeks.
Oh man.
He's not lying. He's not lying. I feel like marketing, even this year, I feel like marketing's going to be the key.
Right.
Like, I seen the sign up for next year. I feel like it's kind of late to pick the artist.
Right.
Because it's in April.
Right.
And then they're picking the artist in April, and then the festival's in June. So I kind of feel like,
No marketing.
yeah, there's just, you're not going to have time to market, because now you don't have time to market any of the artists who's going to be on the flyer. Unless you're going to pick the artist and then make the flyer before you announce the artist. Because that's why I asked questions about that. I was like, you said you're picking the artist in April? They're like, yeah. I said, why? You're only giving it 2 months. April, May, June. 2, you're doing it on Father's Day weekend, which is kind of interesting. But I just feel like if you really believe in it, I feel like the artists have, like I'm going to keep saying this, the artists have a lot more of an input, especially when it's an artist festival.
Right.
Like, I feel like when they picked the headliner for the event, I feel like you should have had the artist agree on who the headliner should be. Like, don't just be like, all right, he's going to be the headliner, but then you have a bunch of artists on the ticket that don't fit the headliner. Like, if we're going to have we'll just say like an R&B headliner, and you have a bunch of like rappers on the bill, like, they're going to be like, who is this guy? Like, we don't know him, respectfully.
Right.
So I feel like they should be like, hey, we have this much for a headliner. Who do you guys think the headliner should be? And then, you know what I mean? Like, we kind of talk between ourselves about people who make sense.
I hear that, man. I hear that. And like you said, you've got some projects coming on the way. What can we expect from A. Marquise coming forward, bro?
So my goal for next year is I really want to do a concert. I've been kind of talking about this for years.
Yeah.
I feel like I have the circle of artists to do it. Like, I feel like I needed the creatives who, when you're performing, it's not just about performing and being able to, like, with me, it took me a long time to really perform, not just sing. Like, I really didn't like when people be like, yo, you're a great singer, but never say I had a great performance.
Okay.
Because those are two different things.
Absolutely.
Now that I feel like I feel like I'm a lot better of a performer than I was back then. I feel like I have a circle of people who are also great performers. I feel like it's about that time I make that happen. So that's definitely one of my goals. I'm definitely doing something very big for my 33rd birthday.
Okay.
February 8th.
February 8th. You heard it here first. Doing something big for the B-Day.
And definitely my brother Brian Upford's going to be involved in that.
Yes, sir.
Because listen, R&B wise is one of my favorite artists. Actually, period, is one of my favorite artists. That's period. So definitely be on the lookout. More details coming soon. Yeah.
Hey, sounds good to me. You know what I mean? Alrighty. So, listen, we can go back and forth all day. And Mark has been a great on this podcast, but we got to cut it short. Listen, please leave it in the comments if you guys want a part 2. I'd definitely love to have him back on here. For sure. So, please let them know where they can find you.
I'm not a hoe, but late_night_3RD. That's where you can find me on IG.
There you go.
A.Marquise_YBG. I gotta change that, but because I'm part of. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, A._YBG.
There we go. And
You ain't finding that nigga.
I'm Where's G, and you won't find me. Don't look for me. You can't find me. And that has been another episode of No Handouts Podcast. And we out.
Later. Woo. That was fun.